Hello and welcome everyone. This is your astrology forecast for 2025, for the wild year of 2025, and there's a lot going on in this upcoming year. It's really a year of big collective shifts. The world as we know it is about to change, really change, and this year is going to give us, to show us a small recap of what we are going into and growing into, and it's really something different. The way the world functions is completely changing. The whole system is transforming, because in 2025 we have a lot of those big slow moving planets all changing signs, and this is really not something that is happening very often. It's not common, because some planets spend more or less years in one sign, and we had Pluto in Capricorn and for the last 15 years, and now Pluto will be in Aquarius for the next 20 years. Then we have Saturn and Uranus and Neptune and Jupiter all changing signs this year, but they will all be coming back into the signs where they've already been, but they will give us a lot of things to work with and a lot of revelations within ourselves. And the way the world functions is changing. The way we live as human beings is changing. The way families function is changing. The way that we perceive families, the way that we perceive communities, the way that we perceive, this whole reality, and the way that we perceive us as human beings, the way that we deal with the money, the way that we deal with ourselves and within our relationships, the way we interact and communicate, a lot of that is about to collapse and to be ruined in some way, but to be transformed in order to be transformed, because something needs to die in order to be rebirthed, to be rejuvenated, to be refreshed and renewed. And we cannot expect any changes if we are always doing the same. So life will kick us out of our comfort zones. Life, if we don't make the change, if we don't do our job to change ourselves, to improve ourselves, to be more aware of everything that is happening, to be able to be self-observant, to be able to be humble and kind, to be able to accept our mistakes and our wrongdoings, and to be able to admit to ourselves things that we don't like, we are staying stuck, and then life will do it for us. Life will kick us out and face us with some things that we definitely have to face. But before I start talking about the main transits, and there are many important ones, I am just going to share with you something that Moon Omens team was working on for a very long time, and I personally wasn't involved in this project, but this is something, this is the best thing I've ever seen. This is the 2025 planner. Just look at this and look how big it is. I don't know if you can see it very clearly. Yes, this is 2025 Zodiac Planner, and it's brilliantly done. It's a masterpiece. It's really for everyone who wants to do the work on themselves, to really be self-observant, to be in touch with themselves, with their souls, with the nature, with cycles, with everything. This is truly like the best tool that I've ever seen out there in the world of astrology, and it's beautifully done. It's really, I'm definitely going to use it. And you have everything here detailed, everything, all the transits, all the aspects, crystals that you should use for each season. You have instruction how to use this planner workbook. And look at this, you have for each season you have these amazing, brilliant illustrations and descriptions of each season. And then you have to write a lot. You have a lot of space to write things down, to write your intentions for the season, your affirmations, and there are many questions to go through, like journal questions. It's really so rich. It's a very abundant thing, and I know that many of you already know and many of you already have this thing, but I just received it yesterday and I'm really mind blown. And there is for each new moon, for each full moon, there are questions, there is space to write down, there is description of everything, there are amazing things here that really help you tap into each season and connect with it, connect with yourself, connect with what is going on, and to know what is here to help you understand what is going on in your life. It's really, look at this, for example. Look at this Aquarius season, and for each season you have this description and amazing images, and I'm really speechless when it comes to this, and I highly recommend you go to our Moon Omens website and check it out if you can. If you are willing to do this work for 2025, and it will be important because 2025 is really something different and we are all going to feel it. And as I said, the world as we know it is changing, is definitely changing, and this is just the beginning. And we also have some other things, many of you already know also, we have these healing keys. This is the collection from our monthly horoscopes that, from healing tips taken out from our monthly horoscopes, something like 337 healing tips, and they are amazing. These are techniques to do the work with yourselves, to help to, face insecurities, face subconscious fears, face everything that we are usually avoiding, that we are usually unaware of, that we are living in a mechanical way, and really understand the beauty of this world and the mysteries of who you are, the mystery of being a human being, because it's really very helpful for all those who are willing to do the work, and the work will be needed to be done, definitely. As I always say, and this is, I think Ram Dass said, the best thing I can do for you is to work on myself, and the best thing you can do for me is to work on yourself. And this is really what can bring us closer to true love, to really being committed, to truly being able to listen, to hear another person, to be there in a natural, pure way, and not to fall in the same mechanical patterns and karmic ancestral patterns that we've inherited and that we then repeat in all our relationships, and that we always fail and fail and fail and always repeat and repeat and repeat. It's time to break those generational curses, let's call them that, because we don't have any better phrase now for that, but we all know what is generational curse. And we all have the right to do it, and we all have the right to be good and to be healthy and to live in a healthy environment, in a healthy community and in healthy relationships. But we first have to do this work with ourselves. We have to really do the job, to walk the talk. There are no excuses, And this year, the start is already like boom, and the beginning is Mars retrograde. Mars retrograde making an opposition with Pluto in Aquarius. Mars is retrograde in Leo, and it's making an opposition with Pluto in Aquarius. And this is happening exactly on the 3rd of January, but this aspect will be felt for quite some time, and this is something that can bring very tough situations within ourselves and many projections that are unhealthy and that are there to help us see our own shadows, and to see the shadow, the collective shadow too, and to see our own personal wants and needs and how they collide and how they get in the way of our true intentions. So we are going to see, things will be revealed to us, you know, our selfish, egocentric wants and needs, and what are we willing to sacrifice because of those selfish, egocentric needs, and are we able to truly see what true sacrifice is? Because the true sacrifice would be to sacrifice everything that is fake within ourselves and that is toxic within ourselves, and this will be revealed through this opposition. This is the beginning, the very beginning of the year, and it can be energy that brings up aggression, violence, fights, conflicts, discussions, quarrels, and all the things that we want to avoid. But Mars is retrograde, and it won't allow us to react in the way that we are used to. We will have to find alternative ways. We will have to find a way to find balance, and to first look within ourselves, to look at ourselves. And before we put the finger, you know, before we point the finger at somebody else, we are asked to point the finger at ourselves first, but not in the blaming way. No one is to blame, but to truly see what's going on. What is going on here? What is this telling me about myself, about my path, about my past, about my journey? Am I truly feeling at peace with myself? What is making me feel anxious? What is that? Where is this taking me? And then we may be taken for a long ride, you know, for a long ride into our own history, the history of who we are. And this history may not be linear. This is non-linear reality and realm, and we are about to see how our rational mind is tricked many times to believe that things are linear, that like this is the beginning and this is the end, but it's not. Things are, you know, moving in spirals, and then they can go like this and like this and like this. It's not like one line. No. And we may be jumping, you know, between these timelines and lifetimes, and we may be meeting and reconnecting with souls that we have a lot of karmic ties to untie. A lot of, you know, those ropes that are untied, that we have to untie. And then on the 6th of January, we have Mars retrograding back into the sign of Cancer, where it's already been between the 4th of September and the 4th of November of 2024. And this is also a very, very big theme, because Mars is in detriment when in Cancer. It's not feeling very good in Cancer. It cannot express itself when in Cancer, and plus it's retrograde, so this is like a double frustration, and something really wants to come out, something really needs to be resolved, and we will have an opportunity to resolve some things that may have been activated between the 4th of September and 4th of November, and to fix them and correct them, but within ourselves, not necessarily with others, but it may come through others. But retrograde, it asks us to go within, to look, to be retrospective and introspective. But we may be faced with passive aggression, or with direct aggression, or, you know, with something that is really hard to handle, with our, you know, abusive behavior, or with abusive behavior of somebody else, with our suppressed anger, with our suppressed rage, with things that we've been silent about, things that we've been trying to avoid. If we've been trying to avoid certain conflict or trying to avoid discomfort, this Mars retrograde in Cancer will show us the way. It will reopen something that we maybe thought is done, that we are done with, that is finished, but it will be something that we have to walk through within ourselves, because it's retrograde. So we cannot do things in the way we would usually do them. It's not like action oriented, but we have to take that action on the inside, and it's Cancer. It's about emotional strength. It's about our emotional health, emotional maturity, and it's in Cancer. It's our inner child and mother and family and roots and childhood patterns and childhood traumas and suppressed rage from the childhood, and these things will be coming out. They need to be purged and purified. Mars is fiery sign and it's in the water sign now, so it will be, you know, something will be cooking there, it will be bubbling, popping up, but we definitely need to face it and to see where we need to take that action within ourselves. And Mars will be retrograde until the 23rd of February. So between the 6th of January and 23rd of February, we have Mars retrograde in Cancer, and this will be our time to do that inner work in a very powerful way, to take, you know, to take action on the inside and to really grow up, to mature, to be an adult, to recognize our immature behavior, to recognize our patterns that are toxic, to recognize our projections in relationships with others, to recognize our decisions that are based on those emotional patterns from the past, and to recognize mother issues, to recognize family issues that we are carrying and that we are, you know, spreading all around us and projecting all around us, not being able to communicate about it, but to always defend ourselves. Mars retrograde in Cancer, there is great possibility that we will do anything to defend our point of view, to defend ourselves, and then we may be even offensive, and, you know, we may be attacking others, or we may be dealing with attacks of others, or with overly defensive behavior. It can be, you know, like emotional floods, but it's something that we have to walk through, and that's why I'm saying, like, we have to do the work. We have to see ourselves before pointing fingers at others, before blaming anyone. Just let's take that responsibility. Let's grow up. Let's stand up for ourselves if we have to also. And, you know, we just have to break some rules as well. And Mars will continue being in Cancer until the 18th of April. So this is really a huge piece of 2025. You know, Mars retrograde in Cancer and Mars in Cancer in general between the 6th of January and the 18th of April. It's a big period of time. But when it starts going direct after the 23rd of February, of course it won't show results right away, but we will need some time, you know, a couple of weeks before it really starts moving forward. Then we will have some clarity. Then we will be able to take action. Then we will be able to see the results of what we've been working on while Mars was retrograde. We will be able to see the progress and to say like, oh, it's working. I have done the work, and we will see what we have done. When Mars goes direct after the 23rd of February and until the 18th of April, we will have an opportunity to see what we've done while Mars was retrograde. And it's a big theme. And, you know, we can talk about Mars retrograde for many hours, but we have other aspects. And, okay, so on the 6th of January, Mars retrogrades back into Cancer. On the 11th of January, big news as well, the nodes, the moon's nodes are changing signs after being in Aries and Libra for the last 18 months. Now things change, and the North Node moves out of Aries and enters the sign of Pisces. Nodes are moving backwards, always. They are always moving like in the retrograde motion. And now they are shifting signs. So instead of being in Aries and Libra, the theme of eclipses and the nodes is changing, and it's moving into the Virgo and Pisces. The North Node will be in Pisces, while the South Node will be in Virgo. The North Node is our mission point, something that we have to follow. This is where we should be focused. This is, you know, like the head of the dragon, the future point. And the South Node is the past, the tail of the dragon. It's something we are done with, something that we should leave behind, something that has served us and that we now have to move away from, something that we also have to focus on at some point, but in a way that we see that it's not serving us anymore. And the focus should be on themes of Pisces and Virgo. We will have eclipses happening here in the next 18 months, and these cycles are always, eclipses are always coming in waves, and they bring important cycles and resolutions. And this is related to the period of time between March of 2006 and February of 2008. So March 2006 and February 2008, that period of time is when was the last time when the North Node was in Pisces and the South Node was in Virgo. So similar themes will be coming up. What, we can all remember what big changes have been happening in our lives back then. And this doesn't mean that these same things will be happening. But if we haven't learned lessons from that period of time, those lessons will come again in different shape and form, but with the same taste. And maybe in some cases with same people from the past may show up, but it doesn't have to happen in that way. We can connect with new people who have the same role to play as those people that we've been dealing with, or those situations that we've been into. And also the last time that we had Virgo Pisces eclipses, but it was opposite. The North Node was in Virgo and the South Node was in Pisces, was between March of 2015 and February of 2017. So March 2015, February 2017. This is also when themes of Virgo Pisces eclipses were active. And Virgo Pisces, this is earth and water. These are, material and spiritual themes. This is our health, our self-care, our healing, our medical system, our ability to be healthy, our emotional, mental, and physical hygiene, our spiritual pursuits, our ability to recognize what is healthy for us, our ability to discern what is right and what is not right, our ability to separate wheat from the chaff, our ability to be our own healers and to be of service to others, to take care of our health, of our bodies, to take care of nature, to recognize mystical and mysterious things in life, to recognize the mystery of life, to recognize the mystery of who we are, and to tap into that magical space of, things that we don't see. Because, when we say what you see is what you get, there is so much more of what we don't see. And this is Pisces, the 12th house, and it's under the rulership of Neptune, the lord of the illusion, the lord of the ocean, the subconscious fears, addictions. And we had Saturn and still have Saturn in Pisces, and this is very important too, because we will now have eclipses here, and Saturn has been preparing us, has been giving us this discipline, mental discipline, spiritual discipline, and the ability to bring that spirit into the matter, to live that purity in this realm, to be pure, to have pure thoughts, pure bodies, pure hearts, and to really take care of ourselves, and not to expect that others will take care of us, not to expect that others will save us, not to expect that something external will save our life. That's an illusion, and we will be faced with many illusions. This is North Node in Pisces. We will be faced with many illusions, and we are waking up to these illusions. And sometimes things may not be as they seem, so that's why it's important to discern and to take care of our three bodies, mental, emotional, and physical, and to really be able to recognize our addictions, to recognize where our anxiety comes from, to recognize what triggers us and why, not necessarily why, but where those triggers are taking us. And this may not be easy for majority, because majority of people don't want to take responsibility. It's always easier to have someone to follow, to have external authority, to have external help, to externalize happiness, to externalize peace, to externalize health. We externalize everything. you know. But this year is truly, like, on all levels, it's a big alarm to go within and to work on self-development, self-betterment, purity, detoxification, and truth. And these eclipses are definitely going to show us and to bring us those karmic, fated events and situations that are going to help us. And maybe in some cases eclipses can bring difficult situations if we are not on the right path, because eclipses have the task to align us with our soul's purpose. You know, it's the higher self that is working here, and our personal wants and needs, our egocentric wants and needs won't be tolerated. They won't be taken as valid. So we have to trust life and to really simplify everything, to simplify our wants and needs, to truly see what we really want and need. Is it really that hard and that complicated? Because life is really not that complicated. We make it complicated. Our wants and needs, our need to prove something, to overpower others, to dominate others, to, you know, prove that we are also here, that I am seen, I am approved by others, you know. And of course, victim mentality is a big theme, because North Node in Pisces is going to reveal that victim mentality in each of us in a different way. But we are going to see where we've been playing victims, or where we've been, you know, maybe even narcissistic. And this is the time when we are changing the way we treat victims and perpetrators and narcissistic behavior. We are going to see how we tolerate these things, or how we punish these things, and we are going to see how wrong the whole society has been dealing with these things. We cannot just, you know, move away and blame certain individuals for everything. We have to see where is the problem within ourselves, what we've been suppressing, what we've been avoiding, what we've been unaware of, you know, everything that we are afraid of, that we are disgusted by, that we don't want to see, that we don't want to look at. As you know, I always talk about these things. This feeds the shadow, and then this shadow overpowers us, and it possesses us. We are possessed by those things, and then we create the world that we see in front of us, and in our closest relationships, within our families, and in our close surroundings. And this is time to really break those chains, to get out of that game. And okay, enough for nodes, because I really won't have time to walk through all of this. We have Venus, the ruler of Taurus and Libra. Venus, planet of love, beauty, harmony, elegance, values, qualities, and everything that is beautiful, that is feminine principle, that is related to art and cultural events, and our ability to express our beauty, to recognize love within ourselves and around us. Well, Venus is about to go retrograde this year in Aries on the 1st of March. And Venus will be in Aries until the 27th of March. And this is when Venus enters Pisces. And Venus will be retrograde until the 12th of April. So, Venus goes retrograde on the 1st of March in Aries. Then she retrogrades back into Pisces on the 27th of March. And then she stations direct on the 12th of April and stays in Pisces until the 30th of April. And this is also a theme of love relationships, of self-worth, of our concept of values, of our priorities, of our own self, of who we are, of love that we have for ourselves. Venus in Aries, you know, the first house, my personality, my things, I am, my expression. You know, this is who I am, the self. And Venus in Aries retrograde will bring things from the past that we have to work with, that we have to see, to recognize, and we may be reuniting, connecting with maybe lovers from the past, with people from the past, in order to resolve things, to see how different we are now, to see what has changed, to see if we can, you know, either complete things or fix them, or to see, or we don't even maybe have to meet anyone, we do this within ourselves because it's retrograde, within ourselves in Aries, you know, looking at myself, really being able to love myself for all that I am, you know, everything, even the things that I usually avoid to admit to myself, you know, this is like truly being able to see myself, and despite that to recognize the beauty in it all. And then when Venus retrogrades back into Pisces, Venus is exalted in Pisces. This is where Venus feels the best. This is where she can express her unconditional love. And this is the theme of unconditional love. Between the 27th of March and 30th of April, we are all going through many tests and challenges when it comes to unconditional love, self-healing, and self-love that is not egocentric self-love, but love that encompasses everything. Love like all forgiving, all accepting, all pervading. This is that kind of energy. Venus in Pisces has a lot to offer, and our hearts will be cracking open in order to receive that energy, and we have to be receptive. We have to put our inner antennas in alignment with this energy, to be able to be receptive and to heal and to forgive. And of course, as I always say, when we walk through this process of forgiveness, eventually we see that there was nothing to be forgiven in the first place. You know, like things can be so easy, things can be so simple. This is the energy of inner peace. Venus in Pisces, especially retrograde, inner peace, inner calmness, taking care of myself, being there for myself, taking some me time, some quality me time, but not in a selfish way, but, you know, doing that for the sake of improvement of not only my personal life, but, you know, like being aware of the depths that we have towards this life that is given to us, towards the universe, towards our families, towards our ancestors. You know, we have some depths there, and we are not alone in this world. You know, we have to take care of what we do, what we say, how we react. And Venus retrograde in Pisces will really show us our blind spots and our weaknesses, and different connections with people that are coming from many different lifetimes. You know, who knows how, I cannot say old, because time is really illusionary. And this is what Pisces is teaching us. Pisces is not about time, and the opposition is Virgo. You know, everything needs to be on time, everything needs to be scheduled and neat. But Pisces is different, and that's why sometimes we see Pisces as mess and confusion, because it's not able to really function so efficiently in this material realm. But that's why it has an opposition, Virgo, and this is the balance. You know, like we have to do both, and this is collaboration. Venus retrograde in Pisces, really important. And of course in Aries too, between the 1st of March and 27th of March, Venus retrograde in Aries, it's an introduction. Then Venus retrograde in Pisces until the 12th of April. Then Venus direct in Pisces between 12th of April and 30th of April. Then Venus again re-enters Aries on the 30th of April, and in direct motion. And this is where we are going to see what we've done, to see the results of our work while Venus was retrograde. And as I said, this is, self-healing, self-forgiveness, ability to love unconditionally. At least we can try. There is no forcing, but trying to recognize our blind spots and our addictions and our subconscious fears and things that we don't like about ourselves. And then we have big planets changing signs. Neptune and Saturn are both changing signs. They are moving in Aries, and they will make some kind of conjunction, but this conjunction won't yet be exact. Neptune, the lord of Pisces, the lord of illusion and confusion and mysteries and mysticism and everything that is otherworldly, intangible, untouchable, invisible. And Saturn, the visible, the tangible, the material, they are really opposite archetypes, but they bring us deep insights about our own inner oppositions. These are big game changers, big players, big roles, and we are going to recognize how can they work together, how can we bring together Neptune and Saturn, and to embody the spiritual Neptune and imaginative side of our being and bring it to life, Saturn, like manifest it, have it like in concrete, dense matter. And this aspect will be exact next year on the 20th of February 2026. But now, around March time, we are about to see it, how this is going to affect us, because this will be a long-term transit. And this is giving us new visions, new possibilities, new dreams that will be coming to life. Things are starting to open up for us in a very powerful way. And Neptune, the Lord of Illusions and Dreams, enters Aries on the 30th of March. And it will be here until the 22nd of October. Then it will have one last visit into the Pisces. And Neptune has been into its own sign of Pisces since 2011 and 2012. These were the years when Neptune entered Pisces. It was like 13, 14 years ago. And now it's changing sign after so many years. And it's moving out of Pisces. It's changing the game. The matrix is changing. And between the 30th of March and 22nd of October, we will have a small imprint of what this Neptune in Aries is about to do in the world and in our personal lives. And Neptune will again enter Aries on the 26th of January next year, where it will stay until the 21st of May 2038. It's a very long period of time. So Neptune will show us some things, and it will be in Aries, and we are going to be faced with illusion of who we are. We are going to see our own personal illusions, and also, of course, our personal dreams become very important. But first, we have to face those illusions about the self, illusions that we have about ourselves, and it can be painful. And of course, things may not all be as they seem. So it's important to work on all levels and to really be brutally honest with ourselves, and to be willing to improve, to be willing to be good, to feel good, to be willing to recognize those repetitive patterns and not to give in to them, not to give them our power, but to use our conscious effort to build our inner center, to grow up emotionally, mentally, and to really take the reins. And Neptune in Aries is a big theme, but now we will just have, just a couple of months between March, the end of March, and the end of October. But it will be enough for us to see what is going on, what is happening. And it will definitely be wild. And Neptune in Aries this is a theme that I will be talking more about for 2026, because this is when Neptune is about to enter Aries and stay there for a long period of time until 2038. And then we have Saturn. Saturn, the taskmaster, the lord of karma, the lord of time, enters Aries on the 24th, 25th of May. And it will be here for a couple of months to show us what kind of journey awaits us once it finally settles in Aries on the 14th of February 2026. Saturn will be in Aries until the 1st of September. So Saturn enters Aries, it changes sign, and it will be in Aries between the 24th, 25th of May and 1st of September. And this is again a small image of what this transit will look like. And Saturn stays in one sign around 2.5 years. And it's coming out of Pisces, where it's been for the last 2 years. But it will come back into Pisces on the 1st of September, where it will stay until the 14th of February of 2026. So it will come back to finish the unfinished, related to all the Piscean themes that I've just talked about. And then it will move into Aries. And this is really big wake-up call, because, you know, we have to do the work while Saturn is in Pisces to heal ourselves, to face our illusions, to deal with our blind spots and weaknesses, to take good care of ourselves, and to be able to be forgiving. And Saturn in Aries asks us to be responsible for ourselves. Aries, the self, again, it's me, but it's also our bodies, our head. Aries, the affirmation of I am, my personality, my character, my behavior, my identity, my individuality. And Saturn in Aries, you know, being responsible for ourselves is something that is truly a must. And we won't be able to blame others for things that we are responsible for. We have to take full responsibility for ourselves. The last time Saturn was in Pisces was 27, 28 years ago. For those of you who are old enough to remember and maybe to connect some dots. But this is, for most of people, I guess, who are listening to this, like maybe first or second time to experience this Saturn in Aries, but together with all other transits and aspects that are happening, this is very important because, as I said, no excuses. Saturn in Aries, like full responsibility for myself, and we may even be strict with ourselves, and we are able to recognize our self-limiting behaviors, our self-restrictive patterns, and our own conditioning. So Saturn in Aries is giving us an opportunity to really decondition ourselves. This is time for deconditioning of all imposed conditionings that we've been living with, to remove the burdens, but to take full responsibility for what I feel, for what I say, for what I do. You know, full responsibility. And it's not easy to do that, but it's the only way. And this is giving us freedom. This is self-mastery. Saturn in Aries, self-mastery, self-discipline, self-maturity. You know, grow up, be mature individual, but not in a way to be that strict patriarchal individual. No, but to be humble in that, because Saturn is in Pisces and it's teaching us how to be humble, how to be forgiving, and then with that knowledge to enter into Saturn in Aries and to become self-responsible, self-masterful, self-disciplined. This is very necessary, you know, and it's time to slow down so we can process our fears and limitations. Saturn is teaching us patience, patience in our reactions, and Aries is not patient. Aries is ruled by Mars, and we will have to be really masters of our lives. Really, It's challenging, and it's very, very powerful, and it's nothing to be afraid of, but it's something to be excited about, and to accept this journey of self-discovery, and of course of the discovery of the collective and of the people, of the power of the people. Pluto is in Aquarius. Let's not forget that. Pluto in Aquarius is now just just moving on in Aquarius, and this is the power of people, power of community. We are going to be faced with shadows of certain communities, with secret societies, with things that have been hidden in certain communities and in families, and the way families function, the way communities function, the way human beings function is changing, and Pluto is about to bring up that trash that needs to be taken out, to bring that shadow. We are going to see it, and it may not be comfortable, because we have to recognize it within ourselves first, and to do our work to purge and detoxify ourselves, to purify ourselves, especially with this Virgo Pisces eclipses and nodes, definitely purging ourselves, and Saturn in Pisces and Neptune and Saturn moving into Aries. It's really something wild, and it's time to master ourselves and face things that have been limiting us, that have been blocking us, that have been preventing us from becoming a mature individual. We are about to see what's been preventing us from becoming that mature individual. Then we have Jupiter changing signs. Jupiter enters Cancer, where Jupiter is exalted. This is where Jupiter feels great, and this is good news. And Jupiter enters Cancer on the 9th of June, and it will stay here until the 30th of June 2026. So one whole year Jupiter will be here. The last time Jupiter has been in Cancer was something like 12 years ago. And this is the theme of emotional stability, expansion of emotions, emotional expansion, emotional wisdom, but also emotional extremes. This is ability to see the bigger picture and understand the past, understand the roots, understand the mother archetype, understand mother issues, understand and recognize our family issues, and gaining emotional wisdom, expansion of family. This is like we are changing our beliefs and perceptions related to what family is, to what inner child is, to what emotional stability and emotional security is, what this truly means. And we are about to really feel emotional abundance, but we may go into certain extremes with Jupiter. Jupiter, brings it enlarges everything. It puts things into extremes, and we may be exaggerating with our emotional reactions, and we may see this happening in families, and the way families function is definitely transformed, and the way we perceive what family is, what family truly means, and how is that related to my emotional perception and emotional health, and my ability to express and to know what those emotional patterns have to tell me. Because Jupiter is about the wisdom and the knowledge, the higher principles. Jupiter rules the 9th house and Sagittarius. This is, the wisdom keepers, and it's related to truth. It's related to our ability to see the higher meaning of things, and we are about to see the higher meaning of our family issues, mother issues, family members issues, of how families function, of how we treat ourselves, and how aware we are of how important it is to understand this in a healthy way. People from all over the world who feel like a family may gather together. This is, Pluto in Aquarius together with Jupiter in Cancer. This is like a win combination that really allows us to recognize the bigger concept of the family, and the soul family, wisdom of family relationships and connections. But this also can be extremes and exaggerations, but also expansion of our consciousness when it comes to understanding what soul family means. Because understanding that we are living in a world that is breathing together, there are smaller things, but there are larger groups, and it's all incorporated one into another. And these are the layers that we are going to journey through, layer after layer after layer after layer, and we are about to see the bigger picture. And together with that Pisces and Virgo energy, also collecting pieces and seeing the bigger picture, understanding the bigger processes. And Uranus is changing signs. Uranus, the ruler of Aquarius, the ruler of the 11th house. Uranus, the planet of shocks, surprises, sudden changes, radical changes, of innovations and inventions, of geniuses, of brilliance, of something that is happening quickly, something that is eccentric and unconventional. Uranus is really about to bring big changes because it moves into Gemini. And it finally moves out of Taurus, where it's been since 2018. And Uranus enters Gemini on the 7th of July this year and stays there for just a few months until the 7th of November. So between the 7th of July and the 7th of November, we will have Uranus in Gemini. Uranus returns into Gemini on the 26th of April 2026, where it will stay there for the next 6 years. But now, during these couple of months, we are about to see that small image of what this will look like. And this is related to news, media, internet, social media. These things will be going through huge changes and shakeups, and we can expect brilliant ideas, brilliant mind, geniuses coming up with some inventive, innovative, crazy ideas, advanced technology, using online and internet in a very different way. Big shocks and surprises happening there too. But this is just for a couple of months, and then we will have this in the next 6 years. We are just about to see what this is going to bring or take. But all these are big news, shocking information, sudden and unexpected information, shocking messages, knowledge that takes us out of our out of everything that we've known until now. Things we couldn't see coming in communication, in transport, in news and messages. Big shakeups and earthquakes when it comes to education, educational system, learning, teaching, sharing information, social media, internet, online business, and social interactions. These are, disruptive energies related to mental patterns as well, to children as well. Gemini ruled by Mercury, learning and teaching, transferring knowledge, big changes happening here. Shocking news, shocking information, big change in educational systems, and big changes when it comes to business and trade too. Radical changes related to Gemini themes, big radical collective changes when it comes to us being humans. This is a very busy time. Uranus is quick, Gemini is quick, and things will be rapidly changing in these areas. This is full of rebellious and revolutionary ideas, thoughts, speeches, information and knowledge. Big changes when it comes to borders between neighborhood countries. Gemini, Mercury, third house is about neighbors, relatives, close surroundings, and we are about to see this on the collective level. Big changes, shocking changes between those borders between countries. Borders and boundaries will be changing a lot, but we may be faced with a lot of restlessness, a lot of mental split, Uranus in Gemini, but also like shocks and sudden insights, sudden information, like we don't know where it comes from, but it's brilliant and we should be writing it down. Some people may suddenly become writers, or some people suddenly become geniuses. This is like the download of some crazy otherworldly energy that gives us ability to communicate about it, to transfer it further. And a lot of themes about duality and polarity, a lot of questioning and wondering. And as I said, it's a wild year, and I barely made it to put it in this 1 hour. And we have eclipses, of course, big theme, eclipses. They are game changers, they are life-changing events. And we have first eclipse on the 14th of March, full moon lunar eclipse happening in the sign of Virgo. This is South Node eclipse, so something will be, leaving our life. We may be saying goodbye to something. This is karmic, this is inevitable, unavoidable. This is as it should be. We are aligned with our soul's purpose. Then on the 29th of March, we have new moon solar eclipse happening in Aries, and this one is related to that cycle. It's closing the cycle that began 18 months ago in Aries and Libra. This is about relationships, one-on-one, diplomacy, our ability to express ourselves, to find balance between my needs and your needs, our one-on-one relationships, marriages, partnerships, social interactions. These are the themes, and this is the closing cycle, the 29th of March. But let's not forget that eclipses are felt 4 to 6 weeks before and 4 to 6 weeks after their exact date, and their influence is strong for 6 months. That's why they come in waves, and they explain to us, they show us what we need to resolve, and they put us right where we need to be, back on the track. Especially if we've made some wrong turns, we will be redirected. And look, my battery is really about to go off now. And this is everything I packed for this video, and with this I would end this forecast. We have another eclipses on the 7th of September and 21st of September, but there are going to be separate videos full in details about this. I want you all to contemplate on this. Do your work. Do your best to be present within yourselves and to gain that inner peace and inner confidence and emotional maturity. I love you all and wish you a happy new year and a very brilliant 2025, full of everything, the chaos and the order. Love you.